Let me ask you, how many hours have you spent killing a singular boss for one particular weapon? How many times have you respec'd your build just to get it perfectly right? And of course, how many hours upon hours of yapping have you learned to tune out just to enjoy the gameplay you love so much? For many of us, it's literally countless hours. And frankly, for a lot of us, we've been on an absolute roller coaster ride with this series. Borderlands, of course. Some really high highs and some really strange lows. But everything that I've seen from Borderlands 4 makes me feel like this might just be the sequel that we were all waiting for. One that doesn't try to reinvent the wheel or add their own unique twist with modern audiences. Kill me. But instead, just doubling down on what we've always loved from the series. It's almost like Gearbox just said, instead of doing all of this weird different stuff, what if we just double down in what people already like? And I, my friends, am absolutely here for it. Oh, well, you happen to like builds? Well, guess what? Well, we've essentially 5x'd it. Not only that, but it's a combination of skills feeding into each other beautifully and you just completely doing different things. Think about in one skill tree, there's like 7 or something capstones. Things that completely change the way you approach your whole build.
Not to mention how cool it's gonna be when the level cap gets increased, and hopefully also we can have 2 or so augments. Cause dude, oh my god, oh my god.
Oh, you like hunting for the most broken and powerful gear? Well, get ready to spend literal days, maybe even years, doing just that. God help us. Okay, I got just a little tangent. Oh my God, man! I don't think we're ready, man. Oh, it's gonna be so much. They've added a whole nother type of thing. They've added like not only have they added the manufacturer thing, where like a Torg and a Tediore can have like a weird baby of like 3x your weapons flying around, and also them doing splash damage. God help us. But also they've added like a side element to your shields and your artifact, or whatever the version of artifacts is in this game, with like a manufacturer allegiance bonus type of thing. Oh my God. It is going to be a RNG. It could either be a nightmare or a beautiful thing. The only thing that I will say is kind of nice with the whole RNG nightmare thing, hopefully not being as apparent, is this game has always had, at the very least, co-op, so we're able to usually share, dupe, or whatever gear. And always within like the first 4 months, there's always like a save editor. So if you're just like, brother, I don't have time for this, then you can always just download a save file usually. So if you don't want to participate in the absolute hell that is going to be this, getting the right gun and such, then I think you might be able to skirt around the rules, or at least alleviate them to some extent. And if you're one of the kind of people in our community giving away a gun that you think is absolutely broken, thank you so much. Please, we're gonna have a whole save file probably thing dedicated to the Discord. Anyway, and I won't switch channels this time. I apologize, Wonderland people. Anyways, I'm so sorry. Oh, you happen to like character customization? Well, guess what? We've added cars and so much more. Not to mention now the bodies are actually substantially different, whereas beforehand they were largely just reskins. Now you get new heads and pretty different new bodies. Also, before we move on, oh my God, dude, some of the cosmetics look fucking awesome. Like the reskins and everything. The interfacing also just looks so much nicer to like actually manage through. Oh, are you possibly getting bored with exploring levels? Well, we've made them 5x bigger and have scattered a bunch of random events around the map, possibly dropping legendary gear, incentivizing you to actually use them, if not just to level up along your journey. And those events could easily be spliced out or interchanged with other events that we have later down the line with our post-launch support, aka making your level up journey not just running around farming enemies or doing quests with a whole lot of yapping, and instead introducing the oh so addictive Infamous loop. I'm talking about Infamous, the superhero prototype-esque game where you run around the map collecting shards for hours and hours, like, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, another piece of candy. Ooh, another piece of candy. And then you're level 50. Yeah. Oh, maybe at this point in the series, you're finally getting a little bit bored with leveling, right? Well, what if we played into the lore power and importance of vaults, and you being a motherfucking vault hunter, and every single time you conquer a vault, you become more and more superhuman, absorbing weird alien tech, getting enhanced mobility, and maybe, just maybe, becoming more of an apex predator. Fuck yeah. All right, all that aside, I'm so hyped. I do, like, so many of this is just them doubling down on things I think we've loved from the series for a long time. Now, whether they can make it hit, I don't know. But what I do know is all of these things are things that I want. I didn't even know I did. The gun manufacturer one, I think, is going to be one of the best examples of, oh my god, this is a part of the game that I love, but we'll see if that might induce a problem with having, 5x more of something might not always be the best, especially when it comes to a game of RNG. But we shall see. Again, worst case scenario, they will still have the save editor things, so it should not be we shouldn't be completely boned, hopefully. Or hopefully your homeboy gets a gun that he does not care about or doesn't care about playing the certain character, which makes your other build. Anyways, this is semantics. All of the things we just mentioned are extremely exciting, but for a lot of us, that wasn't the reason why we were worried about Borderlands 4. It was because Borderlands 3 had one critical problem, and that was the story. To make this short, Borderlands 3, in contrast to Borderlands 2, where we heard this charming fucking monster named Handsome Jack gush about how pleased he was about scooping a guy's eyes out with a spoon, and how it was the funniest shit you've ever seen, will still not be one of the funniest tangents ever written in video games. Versus being yelled at by a bunch of middle schoolers with daddy issues is just utterly painful, okay? But with all that being said, there is a possible silver lining. First and foremost, Gearbox has continually said throughout all of the questionnaires that I've seen and watched that they are trying to anchor the series back to some kind of uniformed tone, as well as them trying to reduce the sheer total of yapping going on within the series. I think what they kind of mean by this is that we're probably going to have more blocked moments of quote-unquote emotion within the story. What I mean by that is maybe we'll experience that sad thing and they get taken to a different area or level to go and explore, but the uniform tone of that level will probably be similar to what we just experienced with the story. But the best example, I think, being when Roland actually died and we came back to Sanctuary, and the whole tone and feeling of this kind of Wild West kind of just seems somber and more grounded. Rather than you going to talk to someone and he's like, hi, you want to sell drugs? It's called B-Fuel. Yup. Here's a weird dig at that, I guess. Okay. G Fuel is supplement energy thing. Yeah. Though the more I look at the story and the story trailer, as well as some of the side quests I've seen from certain gameplay videos I've watched, I'm really digging the atmosphere of the game. And some of the jokes even started to land for me. At least right now, I got a little small shred of trust where I enjoy where the story is going. The only thing I kind of really hope for, and maybe it's naive to hope for it at this point, but I really hope we get a payoff of some kind. So often in the Borderlands story, we have these characters that we fundamentally care about for one reason or another. But so often, especially in Borderlands 3, they're usually just thrown into the story for a quick gag and never talked about again. Or they fucking die for nothing. Again, if we contrast this with Borderlands 2, do you remember when you first seen Mordecai and the whole Bloodwing arc, where they introduce Mordecai watching over you as you're introduced to charming characters like Tina? Mordecai keeps you safe, taking out enemies as you're running around killing more enemies. But after a couple missions, something goes wrong and culminates in you actually having to see Bloodwing turn into a monster and you unfortunately have to kill him. As weird as it is, I still remember Mordecai just being completely and utterly devastated by this. And ultimately, in a lot of us, it fueled our hatred for Jack. That, along with the death of Roland, gave us plenty of reason why to tear this son of a bitch out of our vault. Granted, I could be getting Mandela affected again. I thought Scooter died. Apparently no. God, I hate me. The point in all of this is we were introduced to Mordecai in Borderlands 1 as kind of a nothing hollow character, but just by playing him a lot, we kind of developed some slight inkling towards him, right? And then in Borderlands 2, they paid off in a big way. They make that character a conducive member of the team and flush out his personality so much more than what we ever got. And we understand him, we connect with him, we want to see more of Mordecai. And from the very first moment when we meet him to the subsequent arc of him losing one of his most important friends, that's a motherfucking payoff. And of course, us killing Jack is a part of that payoff as well as avenging Roland, so on and so forth. So I hope we have moments like that in this game. I'm not saying Gearbox kill off a character and we gotta go on a rampage. I'm saying hopefully there are these moments where we see characters like Amara, like Zane, and you actually don't just use them as a throwaway character that you'll use on a side quest to just farm some interest. And instead, you conducively make an arc where we get to see who they are as a person. We get to understand what they value. We get to draw an attachment towards them. And for the love of God, please don't make them have a rat shit personality and make them be like, but now they're the next Siren, okay? Please, God, why do we have to have a piece of shit garbage trash character get a moment of understanding after a fucking death and then maybe decide to not be the worst? Ugh. How about we just have cool dudes become cooler, badass chicks become more badass, instead of garbo shite people become slightly less shite after doing a year's worth of devastation, okay? Of bad will. It's The Last of Us all over again, where they're like, yeah, we could come back from this. No, you can't. Anyways, sorry about that. One last thing about the story of Borderlands 2 and 3 weirdly makes sense in a convoluted way. I mean, if you think about it, Borderlands 3 is in a lot of ways just repeating what Borderlands 2 did. You have an antagonist that's constantly bitching at you and yapping at you over intercoms, right? You also have a death similar to Mordecai or Roland. The issue is it's just a cataclysmic executional fail. Okay, just reading the surface level, oh, okay, we can run that back again, not realizing like the soul and the skill required to make that hit, you know? Anyways, I just feel like I do understand. They're like, we just did everything we did in the first game, but it was worse. But it was worse. That's kind of the takeaway that I have for Borderlands 4. Please do the things that you're already really good at, all right? And just do better at those things. Buff them out, times some of them by 4, and for love of God, we might be cooking. Okay? But the truth is, none of us know if Borderlands 4 is actually going to deliver. But from everything that I've seen, I'm willing to jump in again. I'm not quite sure if they'll stick the landing, I mean endgame, because of the amount of time they've kind of fumbled the endgame, honestly, countless times. I think they maybe, just maybe, will actually be able to pull it off. But hey, Gearbox, if you're watching, and you want an absolute easy win. Within the first 20 minutes of the game's opening, let's just throw punch Ava. Just real hard, just one time. She's probably old enough at this point. We can do that without any sort of moral thing. Honestly, most of you would be fine with it if she was still younger. Anyways, easy victory. Easy victory. We'll put it in the past. Borderlands 3 story, it didn't really happen. It's Borderlands 4 story. We're starting off right. Throw punch. Pow. Oh, also, one more thing. Please, for the love of God, make Tiny Tina one of the DLC Vault Hunters. It is the easiest layup that makes me tear my hair out every single time I think about it. I just hate that it's not a thing yet. God help us. She fits so well into the Krieg level of crazy, and it still hasn't persisted yet. And I'm gonna lose my mind because it's an absolute slam dunk that you've continued to just deny. And instead you're gonna give us some dumb idiot people. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get a Gage and Krieg, which I'll be also happy with. But you could just give us a Tina and something else as well, man. Anyways, hopefully enjoy the rest of your day. I'm on vacation. That's why I made these videos. Love you to bits. Hope I can see you again. And goodbye for now, my friends. Also, we will be covering the ever-living hell out of Borderlands 4 when it comes out. But so will everybody, so I'll probably get lost in the sauce. But hey, love you. Bye.